John Cranston from Balance Certified, and he's here tonight to host our webinar. We're going to pretty much do everything as usual. We're going to keep all the microphones muted on all of our attendees, and John is going to bring you through this PowerPoint presentation. We're doing it a little bit differently tonight. I'm going to have control of the desktop, and John's going to have me advance those slides on that desktop in PowerPoint whenever he wants them done. So we're going to do the same thing again as always. Every 10-15 minutes we're going to break for questions, or like I said, the most important part is if you have a question, raise your virtual hand, and I'll take you in the order that the hand was risen, and then we'll go from there. Well, anyway, without much further ado, John, why don't you take over? I'll get that first slide on the screen there, and welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. As you said, we're Balance Certified Golf. We've been doing back weighting or balancing of clubs since 1999. And our tagline is Sink More Putts, because when we started out, we actually wanted to be a putter company. Back in the mid and late 90s, several putter companies were bought by large companies, and we thought we'd do the same thing, but as it turned out, we decided that was too hard a road to go, and we decided to make all clubs better, or at least all putters, and that's how we started in our tagline, Sink More Putts. Next.
Okay.
The team, it's really important. Balance Certified started as a result of Jeff Linder, a very good friend of mine. I've known him for 27 years. When he was a student at the university taking engineering, I took my son out there when he was 10 years old, Michael, who's now our operations person, and he was working on a project on how to make a racing bicycle, a recumbent bicycle. And I was working on that project with the students. I was working at NASA at the time, and I was showing them how to do composite work. And we built a racing bicycle, and we ended up setting a long distance record and some speed records as a result of that. And our relationship continued to grow over the years. And eventually he came to me. He was watching a Golf Channel advertisement. His dad was an avid golfer, and he was talking about putting, and he had this idea how he could make putters more stable. Came to me with the idea. By this time I had several patents already, and he wanted to know if there was a possibility of a business. I said yes, it looks interesting to me, and he asked me if I'd be his business partner, and voila, the company started in 1999. I've been the VP of Marketing. I went on tour in 2000, got off the tour in 2009. So since then, Jeff worked 15 years at NASA, has 10 aerospace patents and 9 BCG patents. In my career up to now, I have 3 patents, aerospace patents, and 1 BCG patent. And then Greg Lauer, other mechanical engineer, partner, is an inventor also, and has 3 aerospace patents. The significance of his patent, and this is all just so you know, we're just a bunch of engineers. The James Webb Space Telescope is a project I'm working on with him right now, is replacing the Hubble telescope. It's the most important science project going on in the world. And I'm working with him on that project, and I'm the materials and process engineer. So that again ties me back into the golf business. Materials and processes are what we needed. I helped with the materials choice, and I figured out the process that we'd use on the tour, and eventually what became the fit-it-yourself instructions and training that I did with all the PGA Superstores and other fitters around the country. And then last but not least, of course, the most important person is Michael. I think some of you met him at the PGA show. He's in charge of business and logistics. He's the person you talk to on a day-to-day basis. And as you know, he has great service. We back up everything we do, first quality, best manufacturing, best materials. And I think Michael's attention to detail on the business side and our guarantees behind the best products, and they actually work, has allowed us to stay in a very competitive business. 16 years in the golf business is pretty good for such a small company. That's us. The next, please. Yes, we're inventors and we're not liars either. We don't claim to have invented back weighting. We just discovered that back weighting produced benefits that could be utilized by all golfers. So we figured that process out, how we could help golfers benefit from the things like Jack Nicklaus, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s, of course, had his clubs back weighted. My grandfather golfed until he was 97. He passed away 8 years ago. He back weighted his clubs back in the 30s and 40s. So we just figured out a kind of a neater way to be able to package it so more people could do it. And the other more important thing was we decided if it was going to work, we'd prove it in the hardest, most difficult area, and that was in professional golf. So we immediately got credentials to go on tour. We had 2 tour players, Miguel Jimenez and Grant Waite. Our first tour event out at Torrey Pines in 2000. Decided they would take our weighting system in their clubs. They then signed releases that allowed us to get tour cards, and we got our tour card for 9 years. And we, during that time, I fit over 200 tour players amongst all the tours. So several people have copied or tried to do what we're doing, back weighting kind of stuff, but we've been doing it a long time. Next. As I said, we have several patents, 9 patents for balance certified, and they cover the areas of weighting the grip, end of the shaft, the dynamic response of a golf club, the shaft coupler, which we did a license deal with USGA Shaft Company, and we co-developed a putter shaft, and that was 11 years ago, and we're still selling those shafts around the world. And also, the latest patent we got was a wind tunnel test method for testing golf clubs dynamically in a wind tunnel. So just more of just the engineering side of us that kind of says what balance certified is. We're engineers who take materials, processes, the laws of nature, and use them to help golfers play better golf. Next. As I alluded to earlier, we have USGA and R&A approval for all of our products. And if you've been on our website, you see we do not only putters, but we do irons, wedges, rescue clubs, woods, and drivers. And all of these conform to the rules of golf and for the R&A as well. And we have players around the world using our back weighting system now, and it's legal for play. But it doesn't just work for them, it works for all types of golfers. Next. As I said, it was tour proven. They're just one of my last credential cards for being on the tour. Allowed me to be in the locker room, the clubhouse, the practice areas, on practice days only, the media centers. And I spent 9 years on the tour. Started out with PGA first, then I got into the Champions Tour, did a lot on the Champions Tour. We had a tremendous amount of success there. LPGA a few times, a number of times on the Nationwide, and since they had the Nationwide Championship in South Alabama, I would always go to the Nationwide Championship and fit players down there. The good news is it's science that works for all golfers and all skill levels. Anyone can use their simple tools to reap the benefits, as it says there. And I was concentrating in this presentation for putting. Because we spend more time putting, I can show the greatest amount of benefit for golfers in putting. That helps us win their hearts, you might say, for the technology of back weighting that is a fitting process, and they can benefit. And with knocking 3 to 5 strokes off a game just with one club helps them get buy-in. And then usually the next club they want to do is a driver. Almost everybody wants to hit it farther and hit more fairways. So I would recommend that next, and then the rest of the clubs. Next. Over all the years that I was out there, I didn't realize that, I was meeting a lot of people, famous people, and eventually I decided to start having a few pictures taken. And these are some notable players just for me that I